It's Game 1 of the 2021 NBA Finals, and the Denver Nuggets are leading the Brooklyn Nets by 1 with just 2 minutes to go in the game on their home floor. Brooklyn was a favorite for making it to the finals this year, but Denver? They weren't even in the playoffs just 2 years ago. So how do they make it this far? To understand how, we'll have to go back in ReSimulation history. Much like in the 2021 season, the Denver Nuggets had one of the most unexpected finals runs in NBA history. When in 2010 against the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, they managed to beat up on an already injured Kobe team, and then defeated the Philadelphia 76ers in just 5 games. Karl-Anthony easily won Finals MVP and cemented himself as an all-time great. In the offseason, the Nuggets would sign superstar Chris Bosh, and the Sixers would sign Dwayne Wade, and yet again they would face each other in the NBA Finals. It would take 6 games this time, but the Nuggets would yet again emerge victorious, and Melo would win Finals MVP. Things took a turn from the worst from here, though. Carmelo suffered from multiple injuries over the next few years, and he would have multiple public outbursts going after Nuggets coach George Karl. It got so bad, the Nuggets wouldn't even make it to the playoffs in 2013, and in the next offseason, Melo would decide to leave Denver for the Dallas Mavericks, and he would join up with Anthony Davis. Chris Bosh would leave as well and join O.J. Mayo on the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Nuggets would be left with nothing and have to rebuild their roster from scratch. Denver would strike gold in 2015, as they would end up with the number 1 pick in the draft and take sharpshooting big Karl-Anthony Towns. It would also land Goran Dragic in the offseason. They'd end up with the 8th seed, but would lose to the Golden State Warriors in 5. They'd fall off the next season and land the 3rd pick in the draft, where they would take De'Aaron Fox, adding another point guard to the team to join Ty Lawson and Dragic. It would somehow work, however, as the Nuggets yet again were the 8th seed and would yet again lose to the eventual champions, the Golden State Warriors. Unhappy with the Nuggets drafting another guard, Dragic would leave in the 2018 offseason to the Minnesota Timberwolves to join forces with John Wall and DeAndre Jordan. The Nuggets would yet again have another stinker of a season and would yet again find themselves winning the 1st overall pick. And, hold up, how do they manage ending up with the 3rd pick too? In a seemingly innocuous trade in the 2015 season, the Jazz would trade away their 1st round 2018 pick, lottery protected, for Wilson Chandler in an attempt to add a solid 3-and-D player to the contending team. Unfortunately for the Jazz, Deron Williams would fall off massively the following year, and LeBron James, who they signed in 2012, would start to have major injury issues every year, and the Jazz would fail to make the playoffs year in and year out. So I'm not sure how common of knowledge this is, but a lottery protected pick only lasts a year. So since the Jazz were a lottery team in 2018, the Nuggets instead got their 2019 pick unprotected. And since the Jazz were yet again complete ass, Denver got the 3rd pick. It would take the Duke duo Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett in the same draft. The young Nuggets core would instantly go on a tear. It would end up facing the Golden State Warriors yet again, but this time in the Western Conference Finals, only to get swept in 4 by Stephen Curry. But they're still young, and will come back this season better than ever, and snag the 1st seed in the West. In these playoffs, the Nuggets would be facing their ghosts of seasons past, as in the 1st round they would match up against the Dallas Mavericks, led by the duo of Carmelo Anthony and Anthony Davis. Unfortunately for Dallas, Melo was not the same player that won back-to-back Finals MVPs, and the Nuggets easily ousted them in 5 games. In the next round, they would play against the Memphis Grizzlies, the team that Chris Bosh had left Denver to join, and who had actually won an NBA championship in 2015. Since then, however, Bosh would face issues with his heart, and couldn't play at nearly the same level. However, they now had a new face to their team, Trae Young, who had won the regular season MVP award after putting up Curry-like numbers and pulling this Grizzlies team on his back to the 4th seed. However, much like Dallas, the Nuggets would yet again prevail against Trae and win in 6 games. They would now be advancing on to the conference finals to face the Minnesota Timberwolves? Yeah, the same Timberwolves that Dragic had left Denver to join, and he found himself with a squad out there in Minnesota. They had the defensive stoppers in John Wall and Justice Winslow, as well as an up-and-coming star in Marvin Bagley. They had just defeated last year's champions of the Golden State Warriors in the previous round, so they were not a team to mess with. Granted, Durant missed the series due to injury, but that's still impressive they could get past playoff Curry. Of all the series they faced, this would be the toughest one yet for them, as they would go down 2 games on their home floor. They would have to face the Timberwolves in Minnesota for Game 3. The Nuggets would be up by 1 with a little over a minute 30 to go, but Goran Dragic would soon change that as he lays in this finger roll. Eric Bledsoe would come back the other way, and would catch Plumlee on his heels, laying in the shot off the gather to take the lead back. Dragic would try and respond with a shot from close range, but it would clank out, and Denver would come back in transition. TJ Warren would attack on the fast break and get fouled, scoring both his free throws. The Timberwolves yet again would run out the shot clock, and would be forced to toss up a bad three. The Nuggets again come down in transition, find RJ Barrett spot up in the corner, and he'd seal the deal. The Nuggets would find their footing after this game, and after 7 long games, would win the series and be headed on to the NBA Finals for the 3rd time in 11 years. This time with a completely different roster than the first. Well, other than Ty Lawson, who's adopted a Udonis Haslem type role, and led this Nuggets team in spirit. So, we're now all caught up, and we can jump back into Game 1. With a little under 2 minutes left, Lou Will dishes out to Miles Bridges on the fast break, and he dunks it in to give Brooklyn the lead. Fox comes back the other way, and tries to drive in but misses at the rim, and Brooklyn will go on a fast break, this time with Lou Williams putting up a 3. He misses it, but Ayton grabs the miss and slams it in. Fox again tries to drive in response, but this time he gets fouled, and knocks in his free throws to make it a 1-point game. The Nets call a timeout, and decide to have Jimmy drive toward the basket, and he gets the foul call. Butler also scores both his free throws, and it's again a 3-point game. The Nuggets decide to run their offense through Cat this time, who puts up a fadeaway jumper, but Taurean Prince tips it in off the miss. The Nets take no time to find Love open in the paint though, and he easily lays it in. This time Denver will call a timeout, and they also find Cat open in the paint. Brooklyn comes back the other way, and Jimmy again gets fouled at the rim, and would again score both his free throws. Denver calls a timeout, but in this moment, they expose their youth as De'Aaron comes off the screen from Cat, and finds himself open out the step back in the paint. But instead of putting it up, he passes it to Towns. Towns pump fakes and gets Ayton in the air, and takes a step in, but he also chickens out, and passes it to Zion who is fully contested, and he fails to put up the hook shot, and Brooklyn would take Game 1. Game 2 would be somewhat close, but DeAndre Ayton would seal the game as he puts up 37 points and 29 rebounds. That is a straight up Wilt Chamberlain stat line. Game 3 would be much of the same, and in Game 4, Jimmy Butler would seal the deal with his emphatic dunk. And just like that, the Brooklyn Nets were NBA champions. Baby Will would obviously win MVP, as he averaged 30, 18, and 4 blocks in the finals. And the Nets look to have a dynasty in their hands for many years to come. Alright, that's it for the video. I know this one's much shorter than usual, but to be honest, there's just no close games to watch. So I really didn't have much to discuss in this one. I'm glad Ayton was finally able to get a chip. He definitely deserves it. While this one may have been a little bit stale, I promise you the next season is full of twists and turns. It was one of my favorite seasons I've simulated so far. So look forward to that one coming out soon. Or, if you just want to watch the VOD, you can always go to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/BigBirdBallin. I can't believe I've actually caught up to the modern day, and all we have left to simulate is the current NBA season. But that's all I've got for this video. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.